Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. Today I decided to sit down and film my everyday makeup routine. Anytime I am wearing makeup, this is the routine that I follow. It is simple and I feel like it is definitely beginner friendly. If you're interested in seeing how I get my signature makeup look and the products that I use, definitely keep watching. The first thing you want to do before applying any makeup is you want to make sure your skin is ready to go. So the first thing you need to do is you need to moisturize. Now the moisturizer that I have been loving is from Belief. It is the True Cream Aqua Bomb. This stuff is amazing. It's lightweight. It has a sense of stickiness to it, which I feels like really allows the rest of my makeup to really stick to it. So I do enjoy that, and it is definitely super hydrating. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this all over my face. Okay, so as you can see, I definitely went ahead and applied my moisturizer. My face has this nice, healthy glow. So the next thing I'm gonna do is apply my primer. I've been using the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer for about maybe a year or two now. I really do like this stuff. This is my travel one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing I did with my moisturizer and just apply my primer all over my face. Okay, so primer is on. You now want to allow it a few minutes to just really let it get sticky so that you can really lock in that makeup. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my brows. Now for brows, I am very simple. I literally only use one product and I clean it up with concealer. Now for brows, I love to use this Thick It by NYX. It is their Thick It Stick It and I have it in Espresso. This is literally the only product I use and it is a thickening brow mascara. So all I do is I run it through my brows about 3 times on each brow and then I literally just clean it with concealer. So I'm about to go through and, like I said, just rub it through each brow. So I just take it, I comb up, and that's one pass, and then I'm gonna do that 2 more times. Okay, and this is what it looks like after passing it through. As you can see, there is definitely a difference between this brow and this brow. This brow is just a lot more fuller, so I'm gonna do the same exact thing to this brow as well. Now, after I've went through both brows, I like to take a spoolie with no product on it, and I like to just kind of brush out the top. That way I'm brushing the hairs, but I'm also picking up any of that extra product that I don't want on my face. And then I'll do the same to the bottom. And that's literally it. I'm now about to clean up my brows using concealer. Now the concealer I like to use is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Full Wear Concealer. I love this concealer for different areas of my face. Definitely my all-time favorite, and I only clean up pretty much underneath my brows with concealer. So this is in the shade 415 Honey. So I'm gonna take the concealer and I put a little bit on the back of my hand, and then I like to use a flat brush like this. I dab it in the concealer and I literally just trace underneath my brows. After I trace, I drag it down and I'm just going to kind of blend it out this way. Okay, so after it looks like this, I take a fuller brush and I basically just blend it out until I can't really see the concealer anymore. Okay, so this is how it looks after doing both brows underneath. Now, I know it looks a little bit crazy, but stay with me. I'm now gonna take my foundation and I'm just going to clean on top of my brows. Okay, so after carving out the top of our brows, we're gonna go back in with our foundation. This time we're gonna put our foundation all over. The foundation I like to use is the NARS Soft Matte. Okay, now after I've kind of swiped my foundation all over my face to kind of blend it out more and remove a little bit of the product, I like to use a sponge. You can use a sponge or a beauty blender. I'm using this sponge from Sonia Kashuk, and I just go in and I kind of press it all into my face. Okay, so foundation is on. As you can see, my face is kind of now all one even color. So to kind of fix that, I like to go in and highlight and contour. The concealer I like to use, again, I've already mentioned it. It is the 24-Hour Full Wear Concealer from L'Oreal. I absolutely love this. So to highlight, I like to go in with that same color I put underneath my brows. Go ahead, I put it underneath my eye about here. And then I put it towards the edge. I do the same thing here. And here, I then kind of drag it down here. I put a little bit here and then a little bit kind of here. Okay, so as you can see, I've applied that lighter concealer. Again, this is the shade 415 Honey. I put it underneath my eyes, kind of brought it down here around my nose, the edge of my eyes, a little bit on my forehead and on my nose. I'm now going to take that again, same concealer, this time in 445 Espresso, and I'm going to apply it actually on my cheekbone, about right here. I love that it's not too dark. It's kind of a bit red, but not too muddy, and that's usually the look I go for. So I put it here. I'm also gonna go ahead and put a little on my forehead, about right here. I'm gonna put it down my nose. First, I'll go about right here. This will help that concealer up here, and then I'm just going to drag it down. Okay, so like I said, now we're bringing some color and dimension back into our face. We have our lighter concealer, which will act as our highlight, and then we have our darker concealer, which will act as our contour. I'm gonna go ahead and blend out the contour first. Now to blend out the contour, I'm gonna use my same foundation brush. Again, it is the Pro Foundation Brush number 47 from Sephora, and I'm just going to blend out the darker concealer by patting it in. Okay, so I went ahead and blended out majority of the contour. Now when it comes to blending the nose area, I go back in with that putty bronzer brush from e.l.f. and I just like to blend it out by doing the same thing, kind of just patting and brushing. So now that we've blended out our contour, we're gonna go ahead and blend out our highlight. You can blend out your highlight with a beauty sponge, a beauty blender, or a brush. I prefer to use a brush just because I feel like it keeps more of the product on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pat it in. And as you can see, by letting it kind of like dry down, it doesn't really move, so it's easier to just blend out. And this concealer just period blends out really well. Absolutely love this concealer. I think I've said that maybe like 3 times now. That should just tell you how much I really like it. Okay, now once I've got the highlight blended out about 75%, I like to go in with a sponge. I'm gonna be using the Real Technique sponge. It is dry, and I'm just going to blend out the remainder of the concealer. Okay, so I'm pretty much done blending out my concealers. As you can see, it really brought some dimension back into my face. So now what I want to do is pretty much lock all of that in. So I'm going to use a setting spray. The setting spray I'm using is from LA Girl. I'm just going to spray it to, like I said, lock in those concealers. Okay, so after you spray your face, make sure you give yourself a few minutes to really let it lock in. We're now gonna go ahead and move on to powders. Now, the first powder I'm gonna use is my Chanel Universal Powder in 40. Absolutely love this stuff. So what you wanna do is you wanna take a fluffy, kind of like dense brush, and we're not baking, we're not pressing it in. I'm literally just going to kind of like sweep it underneath my eyes and the other areas that I put the lighter concealer to just lock it in as well. Okay, so the brush I'll be using to apply my powder will be a setting brush from Real Techniques. You want to go ahead and kind of like tap your brush into your powder, and then you want to tap it off so you can get the excess powder off so it's not too much on your face. I also like to kind of like sweep it on the back of my hand just to be sure I got majority of it off. And then I just literally go and sweep it underneath the areas that I applied that lighter concealer. Okay, now after that powder, we're gonna use another loose powder. This is the One Size translucent powder. It looks like this. I'm now gonna take it and I'm gonna do that same thing, except this time I'm using a triangle sponge. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing by tapping it in. I'm going to pat off the extra on the back of my head like I did before. And we're just gonna now set. So we're gonna press it in this way. Don't be alarmed, this powder is really good and definitely easy to blend in. So it is white, it comes on as white, but it's able to blend into my skin easily. So I do that. I mean, I can already see that blurring. It's so buttery and just, I love this stuff right here. You do have to be careful though, don't put too much. but just go ahead and lock in. And like I said, you can already see just that smoothing. The combination of the Chanel powder with this is just perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna let that powder sit. I'm gonna go ahead and bronze up my face. The bronzer I'm gonna be using today is the L'Oreal Infallible Bronzer in Deep Dark, the shade 550. This is actually my first time using this, so I'm a little nervous, but I feel like it's gonna be good. So we're gonna see. It's actually not bad. I wasn't sure if it was going to be warm enough, but it actually is. I feel like it's the right amount of brown with a little bit of a hint of red, which I like. I'm now going to take a brush like this and I'm going to apply the bronzer to my nose area as well as on my eyes for eyeshadow, because I do not really like putting eyeshadow on. I like to just sweep bronzer on my eyelids and go. So first up, I'm going to apply it here. Same places I put the darker concealer. And then I'm just going to drag it down to contour my nose and then all across my lid. This also helps kind of like blend in that lighter concealer we use underneath our brows. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply my blush. For blush, I like to use the Volume 1 from Juvia's Place. And I just take a blush brush and kind of mix them in both. Okay, so we are almost at the finish line. It's now time to set our entire face. The powder I'm going to be using is my L'Oreal Infallible powder. I did not realize I use so many of the L'Oreal Infallible products, but they are definitely really good. So I'm just going to take a powder brush and set my entire face. Okay, so now it's time to apply mascara. I'm going to be using the Maybelline Great Lash. Okay, and the final thing we're gonna do is our lip combo. I'm gonna be using my LA Girl lip liner in brown. I go a little bit above my natural lip line. Okay, so the pencil broke midway through filming. Of course, I have to have some kind of hiccup, but I'm just gonna go in with my Juvia's Place liner in Cocoa Latte anyway, and I'm just going to finish basically lining my lips. Now after lining, I like to take my lip product, which will be the Butter Gloss in Butterscotch by NYX, and I just apply it on my lips. Okay, y'all, so that was the lip combo. We have now finished the makeup look. I went ahead and zoomed in so you can kind of see it a bit up close. This is like my signature go-to makeup look. Anytime I have makeup on, this is the routine I am following. Hopefully it was easy to follow in case you were watching along. I use a mixture of high-end products, some drugstore products. I just get the job done with what I have and it works for me. Let me know your thoughts on this makeup look. Was this routine easy to follow? Should I do more makeup videos like this? Definitely let me know in the comments, and that will wrap up today's video. If you are interested in any of the products I use, I will definitely link them below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see more from me, and until next time, I will see y'all later. Bye.